What's up, New Phoenixes? Thank you guys so much for tuning into Elon's first live on air Are You Ready web show. This is our final session of the evening, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time tonight, we are here with the School of Education. And if you're interested in seeing some of the previous sessions, if you go to our schedule page at www.elon.edu/areyouready, you can go to the schedule page and click on the link to some of our recorded sessions that we've done over the past, I guess, week or so. A little bit about these Are You Ready sessions. These sessions are created to provide intellectual discussion between current Elon students, faculty and staff, as well as you guys, the incoming students. And all the information that's being provided throughout these sessions are really pertinent to the Elon experience, especially for first years. The topics of today were about the different schools here at Elon, as well as majors. So please ask us your questions. We'll do our best to bounce back and give you answers throughout the session. My name is Sam Jones. I'm one of your hosts here this summer. I'm a senior at Elon. And over here we've got Lori Shackle, who's a producer here. You might recognize her from your emails.
I'm a rising senior as well, and as Sam said, I'm the producer for this show. So if you're watching live on air, on the right side there should be a Q&A panel, and if you type your question in there, we'll ask the experts on the couch and we'll try to get to your question.
All right. So as I said earlier, we've got some representatives from the School of Education here at Elon, and one of them here is a professor of the School of Education, Dr. Walsh.
Professor Walsh, and I've been at Elon almost 16 years. Department Chair of Health and Human Performance and Faculty Fellow for Substance Education. And Elon's a good gig after 16 years. It's still a really good, not that you need to take 16 years to get your degree, but it's a great place to be, and I'm thrilled to be able to share experiences with you.
Awesome. We also have some students here, a current Elon student as well as a recent graduate.
So I'm Melissa, and I'm a rising senior, and I'm an early childhood education major.
And I'm Meredith, and I'm a recent graduate here at Elon. Obviously, I love Elon a lot, that I'm here right now. And so I just graduated with a degree in elementary education and looking for a local teaching job.
Awesome. Professor Walsh, can you give us a brief overview of what the School of Education encompasses?
I will, but I'd like to ask a few questions first because I think it's really interesting having watched all the different segments tonight. I hope incoming students can see that there's crossover between the schools, and I think one of the things that makes Elon so special is what we call interdisciplinary learning, and that even if you don't want to major in education, there's great value in taking courses in education. Or if you're an education major, there's great value in taking courses in other areas. So actually what I'd like to do is to suggest 4 questions, and if you've ever had asked one of these questions, you want to get to know us in the School of Education. Have you ever thought about what motivates people to learn? How are health behaviors directly related to learning outcomes? What impact does education have on a society? Who makes these policies anyway at the state, local, and national level? If I go into the Peace Corps or Teach for America, will I be expected to know how to teach others? And will I be expected to know how to deliver evidence-based, healthy lifestyle programming? If you've ever had any question in your mind similar to that, I hope you'll get to know us because, yes, we have a major in education, actually 11 different areas. That's for the person that wants to go into the school system and be a teacher. And often you know that early on, even as early as 5 years old. So yeah, School of Education provides an outstanding, award-winning program for those students who want to be teachers. But if you're thinking about any kind of career field, you'll find that having a few courses in education will actually help you tremendously because so many of our students, regardless of their major, at some point will be teaching something within their career field. So yes, we have the major with 11 different areas of licensure. But we also have a number of minors in the School of Education, 2 new ones that we're really excited about, an engaged learning minor, a minor in wellness and health education, where you also get a certification, a certified health education specialist goes with that. We have an early childhood minor, and we also have a minor in coaching that's linked with the leadership minor. So I hope you'll listen to these student stories with 2 things in mind. Some people are born to be teachers, and often they know that early on. But most all of us will be expected to teach something at some point, and the School of Education can be helpful to all students, whether it's with a course, a few courses, a minor, or a major.
On that note, we have a question related to that. Rachel is asking, can I take an education class if I'm not an education major? And so you mentioned that a little bit, but I think, Sam, you have a little bit of experience.
I have taken an education class, and I'm not an education major. I took an early childhood development class my first year at Elon. It was my 2nd semester, and I don't know, something about it sparked my interest. So I ended up taking that course, and it had a lot to do with psychology and about, it was really interesting, and I ended up having to do, part of that class was there's a service element in which I ended up going to a local, it's called the Positive Attitude Youth Center. It's a local center here in the Burlington community, and worked with children around the ages from like 4 to 8 years old, which was really interesting. And so the answer is yes. You can take an education course if you're not an education major. And I think that I definitely encourage you to take one because it gives you perspective that you might not get otherwise.
And it sounds like the minors might support other majors outside the...
Oh, they're great complement to other majors. And you'll find that there are a number of education courses that will count in your minor as well in other areas.
Yeah, I can kind of speak to the minor part. I didn't mention it earlier. I have a minor in coaching, but there's a few education majors in the minor, but a lot of them are coming from, they're either athletes who are interested in continuing that, or sports and event management who just kind of have that same interest. So you get a different spread of people with education minors, definitely.
And I don't have a minor. I was just an elementary education major, but I was one of those people that, like Professor Walsh just said, that knew that they wanted to teach at the age of 5. And I'm also a North Carolina teaching fellow, which, however, that program has ended for the state, so there are no longer North Carolina teaching fellows, but there's still Elon teaching fellows, which is a phenomenal program. And if you were watching earlier, one of the guests was a business fellow. And just like we talked about earlier, these interviews have already happened, but I think they still do lateral entry, so if that's something you're into. And these opportunities as a Elon teaching fellow are phenomenal. You go on a bus trip and do the American Revolution up and down the Eastern Coast, and I'd never been above the Mason-Dixon line until my freshman year of college. And then I went abroad to London, so you either go abroad to London or Costa Rica, and it's a requirement, so you have to. And why wouldn't you? And so I was able to leave the country and go to Europe for 3 months and was able to work in a local school there, which is phenomenal. 5-year-olds with British accents. Why would you not want to do that? And then junior year, you go to DC for 10 days and take a political science class, which was awesome. I'm not a political science person at all, but it is important to understand those policies, kind of like those questions you're asking. You need to understand where those policies are coming from because they are going to control a lot of your life as a classroom teacher, as I'm quickly learning. And so we were actually up there for the inauguration. So if it lands on your year, you could potentially see a presidential inauguration, which was really awesome. And then every education major, if you want to major with a licensure, you student teach your spring semester senior year, which was awesome. And I did that in 3rd grade in a local school here. So there's all kinds of opportunities, whether you're an Elon teaching fellow or not. You're in a classroom as a first-year student as an education major. So you're right in there as soon as possible, so you know whether that's something you really want to do or I need to find a new path. So, and it's awesome that Elon gives you that opportunity early on.
We have a question about student teaching. It sounds like, when do you get to work in a school to see if that's what you really want to do?
Well, you take your first intro, like education class, your spring semester, first year, and so that's like your intro to education class. School and Society is what it's called for elementary ed, and then I forget what the title was for secondary and middle grades. And so you spend at least 40 curriculum hours in that classroom. So you take a class to learn about that, and then you go and observe in a local school. So you're in a school your spring semester, freshman year, or first year, and so you have that experience early on, and you kind of get to see if you really want to do that. But then you, as an elementary education major, you have to do a language arts, social studies practicum, and then a math science practicum. So you're in a classroom for over about 120 hours for those semesters while you're still taking 4 courses at Elon. It's a lot, but it's totally worth it. And that's it as early as your junior year fall. And that's when I took my first methods class. And those will give you the methods of how to teach. And that's when you really realize, okay, I can do this, or maybe not for me, which is perfectly fine too. Because like we said, some people are not born to be teachers, but a great background to have, because you're going to have to be a teacher at some point in your life, no matter what field you're in.
And the School and Society course is a wonderful one for anyone to take, because
Absolutely.
it just introduces you to the field of education, and you can count it in multiple ways according to what your major is.
Yeah, I definitely found that class really helpful, because I came in wanting to teach special ed and elementary ed, and was in a first grade classroom and decided, oh my gosh, these kids are way too old for me. And so I had to go down and work with, the infants, the toddlers, the preschoolers, and that was definitely what I wanted to do. So it really helps you. You get to have a say in what kind of room you're in that freshman or that first year spring, and it really helps you figure stuff out.
So what kind of courses can first-year students expect to take during their beginning time here at Elon?
I took a lot of courses that were like general education courses where you need to fulfill those requirements, but for elementary specifically, a lot of those requirements you have planned out. So I know you need to take like biology, you need to take a history class for North Carolina specifically. And so I was doing a lot of that, which I found really interesting. It's still my grandpa's favorite thing to say, that freshman year when he talked to me, my favorite class was government, which isn't exactly what he was expecting, but I think it's really good. And those set you up for your later courses, because you need that general knowledge to teach other kids and everything like that. You need to know what's going on in all the different kind of subject areas.
I think that's a really important point. All of our students are grounded in the liberal arts, and it's especially essential for an education major to have that liberal arts background. And you'll find that many professors in the School of Education teach in what we call the core curriculum. So you'll find that we're very supportive and contribute to that area.
Absolutely.
But that first year, students will take a lot of core curriculum courses and then be introduced to their major if they've decided on a major.
We have a question about that, if you want to elaborate just a little bit. ISIS is asking, do any education courses count towards the core curriculum? So where's the overlap there?
We do have some. I'll mention 2. We have 2 health education courses that also count in society, and they're about health promotion and perspectives in personal and global health. So you'll find that some of the courses offered in the School of Education count in those areas within the core curriculum. That's just an example of a couple of them.
So what kind of experiences do education majors have outside? I know outside the classroom. Like I know you worked in an elementary school. Did you also worked in elementary school?
Yeah, I've had time in elementary schools, and then also for early childhood, I was in a school where I was in a toddler classroom with 1.5-year-olds. So.
Yeah. So how did in what other ways do you think that people that are in the School of Education pursue their experiential learning requirement? What are some other, I guess, aspects that students you see frequently pursuing?
I think we kind of touched on it, but studying abroad is really big, and I didn't get to go for a whole semester because just with the way it worked out with classes, that would have been really tough. But I studied abroad winter term, which is fantastic because I came in thinking that I didn't even want to go abroad, and freshman year that all just changed because so many people here do it. And I went on a trip that was education-based, and we went to India, and we were teaching like middle schoolers and high schoolers science concepts. And it was just so interesting because you get to see this whole different aspect of how they teach, because it's very different. We're very hands-on here and want to have, the kids getting really, engaged in what they're doing, and there it's very different. It's more so based on the teacher lecturing. And so going there and kind of introducing this idea, you can see the difference it makes. And then actually going abroad my sophomore year there inspired me to really go on my own and get an au pair job my junior winter term. And I went by myself to Spain and was like a nanny with a family teaching English. So it was really cool, and it really just kind of opens your eyes to everything that's out there.
Very cool.
Yeah, I would say obviously study abroad is a huge thing just for Elon students in general to get that experiential learning requirement. But I also would say undergraduate research, a lot of my friends that just graduated did a huge undergraduate research project, and a few did like RTI, which is a huge program in education as well. And so that kind of focuses on different tiers. If you're below grade level, what kind of tiers can you hit so that you can get on grade level? And they did research, which is going to obviously help them tremendously in the classroom, and they share that research with us. So maybe we did not personally do that topic of research, but they shared it with us so that we could use that information in our classroom, which is awesome that we share information with each other and just different research-based topics, because everything you do in education should be research-based, because you have to research, what methods are going to work best for these schools and different things. And I would also just say that, like, service is a huge thing you can pretty much easily get with education, because you spend a lot of hours in local schools, and that is something awesome. And like positive youth things, there's tons of different programs here in Burlington that you can get involved in, boys and girls clubs, different things like that. Burlington Housing Authority, which is something I was involved in. And there's just so many opportunities if you want to look into that service aspect. I know tons of people do that, especially with education. It kind of matches up perfectly. And so in leadership, kind of that makes sense. And so there's multiple different things that you can do with experiential learning that correlates perfectly with education. It's just kind of what do you want to do and what's kind of your passion and what do you want to do, and kind of match that up. And it's kind of all what you want to choose. But yeah.
Definitely.
Would you talk a little bit about the research project you're currently involved in this summer?
I'm currently doing, it's called SURE, which is Student Undergraduate Research. And so I'm here for the summer and working for about 2 months. And I'm working with a mentor professor who is in almost every day talking with me and planning. And we're doing data collection this summer, but basically we're looking at how parents guide 4- and 5-year-olds doing activities at home. And I find it really interesting because I never really thought about research as something that, you could get into as an undergraduate, and it's something that really sparked my interest. And there was a professor who just happened to want to do that project too. So it's an interesting thing because I know some people will think of their own research project and go and find a professor. And for me, the professor said that was something that she wanted to do. And I walked up after class one day and said, I'm really interested and I want to learn more. So can I help you? And it'll be a nice long project that'll take me all the rest of next year and probably after I graduate some. But it's really helpful. And like you said, everything that you do needs to be research-based. And so adding to that knowledge base is really great.
I think you'll find a lot of classes in the School of Education have research built into them. I think you did one on community gardens.
Yeah, so as an education major, there's 3 classes. I know a lot of majors, you have to do research methods, and I think secondary majors have to, but elementary ed, you do not have a research methods class. And so your explorations 1, 2, and 3 are kind of your research classes, and that is where you do like your technology wiki, and you come together and you do a group research project. And my focus was like community gardens and healthy eating in schools and public schools, and how to do more humane eating from farms and local farms, especially in the rural area of Alamance County and surrounding areas. And that's just something I was really into, and that's something I've kind of been looking into for schools that I'm hoping to teach at, is like, do they have a garden in place? Could they get a garden in place? Is that something I could run as a first-year teacher? And so it's just kind of whatever you're passionate about, you can kind of research and do, which is awesome. And that doesn't matter what major you are. And that's what I love about Elon. There's a faculty member who wants to do that project alongside of you. And they want to help you, and they want to help you grow and learn, which I think is phenomenal. And one of the reasons why I absolutely love Elon is because of the support that the faculty gives you. Yeah.
Are we getting any more questions in, Lori?
We do have another question. Pamela asks, what is the health and human performance? And I know you're the department chair, and there's some other non-curricular things like the magazine that go along with that. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, the Department of Health and Human Performance offers a major in physical education and health, and that's more for the student that wants to teach physical education and health in the schools. But we also have minors. We have the coaching minor, which is very much built around leadership and strategies and research-based principles, and that minor draws from students all over campus. And then we have a new minor called Wellness and Health Education. And that minor is to prepare students who really want to go into health promotion and work with individuals on creating healthier lifestyles and do health promotion programming. So those are the primary areas within the department. But what we also do is we integrate health and wellness throughout the curriculum. So we offer a number of courses that are 2 semester-hour courses around healthy behaviors, and we find that most Elon students are very much interested in healthy behaviors and how to be motivated to maintain those. So like we have a 2-hour theme course on stress and mindfulness, health of the human spirit, overall fitness. So you can get the minors, the majors, but we also draw a lot of students who are just interested in health-related courses for credit. And then finally, unfortunately, the greatest decline in physical activity among young people occurs between the end of the senior year and the end of the first year in college. So at the end of your freshman year, first-year students are looking back and saying, man, this time last year I was so much more active. And I think the reason for that is you now own your lifestyle choices. Before, probably you were in intramurals or something like that. So what we find is by the end of the first year, students are really interested in those courses that can help them get back on track with overall health and wellness. So that's health and human performance.
Yeah. Very cool. So you were speaking about, you said that you have a minor in coaching.
Yeah.
How do you think, because I think that a lot of the students that we've talked to today either have, experienced some sort of minor or double major or something. How do you think that your minor is supporting your major?
I think it goes really well, typically with any education major, really, because a lot of the coaching classes are about motivation and kind of planning things out and like planning practices or something. And a lot of those same skills go with education, but also, I mean, when you're coaching teams, you're teaching kids how to play, you're teaching, student athletes how to get better. And so it really does go hand in hand. But it's really great because the professors work with you to kind of work out those classes, because I know that for me, putting them all in is kind of difficult, and they really work hard so that you can do that if you want to do it and have that complement your major.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have just a couple minutes left, but can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned this right at the beginning, I think, but in addition to teaching in a school, there's other professions that it prepares you for. So can you talk about where your students end up after graduating?
Well, 70% of them end up either in the field of education or in graduate school. And I have to brag a little bit on end up in the field because you've been doing interviews and you have several job offers on the table. So I think the point I'm trying to make is that the Elon student with a degree in education is very well prepared. And schools recognize this, and they really look to us to provide effective teachers that will make a difference in the profession. Other than that, especially with our new minors and our new majors coming on board, I think you'll see students going into health-related fields, health promotion. If students are interested, like I said, in Peace Corps or Teach for America, they'll find that our minors are very much a complement to those career choices. So the majors tend to go traditionally into the public schools or private schools, but our minors would appeal to students across the board in many, many career fields. Yeah. And I think you'll find that the faculty and staff in the School of Ed are committed to what Elon is all about, service, scholarship, and teaching. And we just have a tremendous group of faculty that they do a great job advising and one-on-one with students and in the classroom. I think you said one of you, your favorite thing about Elon, the faculty.
Yep, I've had dinner at professors' houses. You get close.
You get really close really quickly. I would say that that's absolutely one of my favorite things as well. This faculty, it's like a family, especially in the School of Ed, and I think it's like that for the majority of the majors here at Elon. However, like the School of Ed, like you know that we are education majors and we are like a huge family, and people make fun of us all the time, but we are constantly love to be around each other, and just our professors like love coming into our schools and like watching us grow as teachers. And one of my student teaching advisor is, I call her mom. Like that's just where we're at in life, and that's okay. And so it's funny to say that she was once my professor, but now I call her mom. And so, you know, that's just what Elon's about, and the community that you create here with your peers and your faculty is phenomenal. And I think you'll find that no matter what. So yeah.
All right. Well, it looks like that's all our time for this final session. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you guys have just tuned in for this last one, or for only a couple, if you guys go to our schedule page at www.elon.edu/areyouready, you can click on a link for one of our recorded sessions. And yeah, it looks like our next session will be on Tuesday of next week. Thank you guys so much.
Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry, Thursday, not Tuesday. Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah, it's on. It's called Welcome to the Neighborhood, and it's Residence Life is talking about all the different places you can live on campus and all the programming there.
All right.
It'll be at 6 o'clock.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on Thursday.